Meeting is being recorded and or transcribed.
Okay. Why don't we give it another minute, Charisse, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. I think we're all set to get started, Charisse.
Sounds great. Let me take the opportunity to share my screen. Just want to confirm you can see my screen.
Yes.
Great. All right, welcome all. Thanks for taking the opportunity to learn more about the DTE MIGreenPower Community Impact Pilot. We wanted to connect with you all to introduce the pilot.
Oh, Charisse, sorry, I apologize. I accidentally just muted you. I was trying to, if we could all mute besides Charisse, that would be very helpful for this. Thank you. Sorry, I apologize.
No worries. I'm not sure where I got caught off, but you know, thanks again, you know, for taking this time. We really just wanted to connect with you to introduce a pilot and share ways to engage. My name is Charisse Smith, and I'm presenting today on behalf of Guidehouse and in collaboration with the Low Income Solar Council, comprised of the Michigan Public Service Commission, DTE, and Vote Solar. We'll do a brief round of introductions shortly, but before doing so, I'd like to cover the agenda. So on our agenda today, first, again, we'll introduce the Low Income Solar Council and those members that were able to join us here today. Next, we'll provide an overview of the MIGreenPower Community Impact Pilot. Then we will share the type of support we are seeking from you all. Lastly, we will open it up for discussion. However, you know, feel free to ask questions along the way, either live or in the chat. Very much encourage this to be a discussion throughout. So again, don't hesitate to ask questions or provide any feedback. Great, on to introductions. So prior to diving into an overview of the pilot itself, we first wanted to orient you to some of the folks on the call and those who make up the Low Income Solar Council. Just for reference, the Low Income Solar Council is responsible for leading pilot planning and implementation and is comprised of a representative from Michigan Public Service Commission, or MPSC, who is a non-voting member. DTE representative, a nonprofit organization, Vote Solar, and a subject matter expert, Guidehouse. DTE and MPSC are also supported by non-voting members as well here. We'll have each person introduce themselves briefly and share their role with us. First off, Lindsay.
Yes, hello. My name is Lindsay. I work for DTE and the Renewable Energy Group. I'm a marketing analyst and work a lot on the low income renewable projects that we're working through.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. Will?
Hi, everybody. My name is Will Kenworthy. I'm with Vote Solar, and Vote Solar is a nonprofit that is works on solar energy issues around the country. I'm the regulatory director for the Midwest, which means I deal with regulatory and sort of technical issues here in the region, and I'm based in Chicago. But we were selected to be the nonprofit representative on the council, just because of a long history of working on solar issues at the commission. And in Michigan.
Great, thanks, Will. And I'll provide a little bit more about my background. I'm a director at Guidehouse within the Energy, Sustainability, and Infrastructure practice. I'm based in Ann Arbor, and we were selected as the subject matter expert for this effort. And really look forward to leveraging really our team of experts here at Guidehouse. We have expertise across the energy provider and state and local government clients in subject matter experts, subject areas, in renewables, procurement, community engagement, program design and planning, and a large part of why we were selected for this effort. In addition to, we have supported DTE energy waste reduction programs, including programs within the income qualified space for some 10 years now, and really look forward to leveraging these learnings for this initiative here. So one of the main reasons we wanted to connect with you today is we are also seeking to identify one community representative from each of our pilot cities to join the council. Hence why we have some unfilled seats, marked on this slide. I will also acknowledge, we're certainly working closely, as I mentioned previously, with MPSC. Unfortunately, Julie and Cody couldn't join us today, as well as closely with Michael, who also serves as the DT representative and manager of renewable energy here. Moving on to the next slide. Great. So we wanted to provide, just an overview. I am sure you may be wondering much of this time, what is the MIGreenPower Community Impact Pilot? First off, some background. DTE is committed to doing its part to address climate change and is working to decarbonize our state's economy. DTE has a goal of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050 by bringing on clean energy to the grid with the investment of wind and solar. So in this effort, and as an outcome of conversations with community stakeholder groups, DTE has established a pilot, MIGreenPower Community Impact, to bring community solar to the DTE service territory. This will include community solar projects in 3 underserved communities, Detroit, Highland Park, and River Rouge. DTE will provide 30% of the funding for the pilot, up to $300,000 for each solar project. And these funds will be allocated to engineering, procurement, and construction, with the remaining funds coming from third-party contributions, such as grants and donations here. The goal of the pilot is to help income qualified individuals participate in the benefits of renewable energy. Income qualified residents for each project may be subscribed to 100% renewable energy and will receive a bill credit of about $25 to $30 each month on their electric bill. I'll also note that 2 of the 3 projects will include energy efficiency initiatives to further enable bill savings. Also, again, as the Solar Council is fully formed, they will be leading the planning and implementation of the pilot. And we plan to add those 3 community members, 1 from each city, to support the decision making and outreach throughout this effort here. So taking a step back, in addition to introducing the pilot itself, we wanted to share with you an overview of community solar, which is the foundation for which this pilot's built upon. Community solar are local solar arrays shared by multiple community subscribers, in this case, those located in Detroit, Highland Park, and River Rouge, who will receive a credit on their electric bill for the share of the solar power produced. You may be wondering, how does community solar work? Community solar can be a great solution to bring renewable energy to communities that may not otherwise have the opportunity. Some may be unable to install panels on their homes. Perhaps they're a renter or their location simply isn't suitable. With community solar, you don't have to install panels. Instead, you can subscribe to a portion of the community solar project. Your subscription then helps the developer fund the solar array, and in turn, residents or businesses receive a credit on their bill. So what are the benefits of community solar? There are many, as listed here on the slide. The first of which is equal access. As mentioned, it addresses a lot of challenges associated with installation of panels and allows many to participate that otherwise may not be able to. It's cost effective. Community solar projects are intended to be optimally sited in the best locations and built at a larger scale than individual arrays, and therefore can often be more cost effective here. Easy participation. It's much easier to participate in community solar and have the benefits of renewable energy than, say, install solar panels on your own. It's mobile, so community solar often allows customers to move within the utility service territory and retain their participation in the program. And then finally, community solar model has been shown to work well in many jurisdictions across the country, as it is mutually beneficial relationship with the utility and the customer alike. Really enabling utilities to more easily provide clean energy to customers who want it. So you may be wondering, what is our specific approach to this pilot? Our overall objective is to connect with income qualifying customers in Detroit, Highland Park, and River Rouge with community solar here. Many of the details to be further defined once the council is fully formed and in the coming months here. As part of this effort, we would like to first identify one community representative from each pilot city again. The Solar Council will be engaging each of the pilot cities focused on fundraising, identifying project locations, setting project selection criteria, as well as review of projects to support the final project approval. Ideally, we would like to identify each of those community representatives by January of next year here. We expect that each of the 3 solar projects to be operational by 2024, and DTE will target 1 project per year. However, the actual timeline for each of these projects will depend on fundraising and implementation will occur as soon as possible, after project funds have been raised. So we've simply identified the location of each project, again, all located in DTE service territory, focused on underserved communities. Important to note, beyond the city, the actual location of each array has not been determined. We will be seeking input from the community on exact locations within each city, with final approval from DTE and in accordance with any local zoning guidelines. The number of customers that may be able to participate in the pilot will depend on the size of the community array. DTE and the Solar Council will work together to develop criteria for selecting individuals to participate in the pilot. Next, we plan to cover opportunities for input, but prior to moving forward, I want to see if there's any questions on the pilot overview here. Okay, we'll keep moving forward, but again, please do stop me if you have any questions. So next, we'd like to talk about the opportunity to share, and we'd like to kind of share the opportunity, for input and support throughout this pilot. There are several areas where we would like input from the community to ensure this pilot and ultimately the solar projects represent what the community desires. First, as we mentioned, we're seeking 3 community representatives to lead the project planning and implementation. More specifically, these members will be voting members and key members in engaging the community at large, as well as community organizations. Community members will also be compensated for their time. Second, also mentioned, we'll be seeking community member and organization input, as well as city input on site selection. Third, we aim to regularly engage community members and interested stakeholders, including cities, on a variety of items, including but not limited to fundraising, project selections, customer eligibility, and overall process improvement. So we have outlined a plan to identify community representatives, and we certainly welcome feedback on this plan. First, we are working to collaborate with folks such as yourself and inclusive of community partners to provide input to this overall process and share this opportunity to engage as a member of the council. We have developed a community representative application intended to understand the individual's desire to serve as a representative of the community. The application is not intended to assess their background and experience in the space, aside from assessing their community engagement, their current engagement within the community, as well as serve as a benchmark to understand how they may engage their fellow community members and leverage their existing network to support this effort. Again, we certainly are not looking for expertise in the solar space, simply a passion to represent a variety of perspectives in an important effort here. More specifically, these community members will support the council with a variety of tasks, including interfacing with municipalities and communities, hosting community education and information events, raising funds in addition to the 30% funding provided by DTE, also soliciting project locations and vetting solar array concepts and designs, finalizing project selection criteria, as well as reviewing, ranking, and ultimately recommending projects for DTE to develop here. Members will not only drive the success of the pilot, but will also have the opportunity to gain valuable experience along the way. We would like to have your support in distributing the application or recommending individuals who you think may represent the community well. We intend to open the application, or I should say we have opened up the application period already, but very much again, welcome feedback on this process, and have requested applications are returned by December 21st. Applicants can submit questions throughout the application period. We're certainly here to serve as a resource as we go. Once the application period is complete, we will complete a blind review, removing any self-identifying information from the application, and prioritize candidates, and then make a final selection amongst the council with support from partner organizations and/or cities here. Candidates will be notified within 6 weeks by the end of January of their selection to the Solar Council. Any questions or feedback on this process as outlined here? Okay, certainly keep moving along, but again, please don't hesitate to stop me if you do have any questions. So applications can be accessed at this link or QR code and are available in English, Arabic, or Spanish. We also have paper applications available if that would be helpful to provide as well. Certainly do feel free to reach out. We have an email at the end of this presentation where that you can reach out for any questions or feedback that you may have. The application is intended to only take about 30 minutes to complete. Applicants are asked general contact information, name, email, home address, phone number. In addition, they're asked to share their interest in a few questions. The first of which is, why are you interested in representing your city on the council? How would you plan to engage members of your city to ensure the best representation? And are you currently involved in any community or local organizations? We're also asking applicants to commit up to about 10 hours a month. Okay, keep going. As part of our outreach, we have identified this initial list of community partners on this slide, and thank you to those who have joined us today. I will also mention we connected with many of these community partners in a session that we held last week as well. And important to note that this is preliminary. This list is preliminary and not intended to be comprehensive. As we understand, there's likely additional partners that should be included as part of our outreach efforts. We wanted to share this initial list really just to leverage your support in identifying any potential partners that aren't on this list, but you think would make great additions. Feel free, again, to share those with us, either now in the chat or send us a note afterwards. I'm certainly happy to take that feedback. Equally important to note that we understand simply because the organization name may be on this list, it's not necessarily a confirmation of their interest and availability to support. That said, if you are interested in supporting and engaging in the areas we mentioned, feel free to send that in a follow-on communication here. Next, we plan to move into some discussion, but prior to doing so, just want to check and see if there's any questions or, again, feedback for us at this time. Great. Now just want to take the opportunity to open it up to any questions or feedback that you may have. First, just starting with any overarching general questions that folks may have. Okay. Hearing none. Quiet group. Taking a look at the list, Richard or Sydney, I don't know if you have any, and certainly don't mean to call out folks, but I know that there's a small group here. So just want to, again, provide the opportunity to see if you all had any questions or feedback for us at this time.
Sharice, Sydney's with the DTE team.
Okay, excuse me. Thank you. Julie, yes.
All right, I'm with DTE team, but I'll ask anyway. So how are we getting the, because it might be useful for, how are we getting this word out again? Like to get that code out, what are the channels that we're using?
Yeah, great question. So we are using community partners, many of which that are listed on the previous slide that we have. We sent out a communication to them to distribute this application, and many of them have provided, an indication of support that they plan to connect with community members to share this information.
Fantastic, thank you.
Great. I'll kind of keep going down the list of discussion topics. Certainly not intended to, just solely be focused on these questions or considerations here. But, by all means, let us know let us know if anything else kind of comes to mind. Want to understand, how best you can support in identifying community representatives, if it's through sharing this application, or if there are other modes to kind of get the word out about the pilot and the opportunity to participate, either more broadly or again as a member of the council itself. And then, also want to just understand, as I mentioned previously, are there any additional community fundraising organizations that we should include as part of this outreach? And then finally, how can we work together to ensure that this is successful? Any additional kind of thoughts, questions at this time? Yes, Richard, it sounds like you may have something.
I just wanted to thank you for such a thorough presentation. That's the only reason I don't have any questions. That was very well done.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. And of course, happy to kind of share this content with you afterwards. And, please do let us know if anything comes to mind.
I want to thank Lindsay. She's going to email me the presentation. I'm going to share this with the mayor and a couple other people in the organization. So thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, Lindsay, Will, anything else that you would like to cover during this time, or?
No, just like to thank everyone for, joining and your interest in this. We see this as a really important project, and would love to get the word out and get some robust participation so that we get when we fill out these 3 positions on the council, that we have good representative people and with the engagement of the community that we're trying to generate here. So
Great.
Well,
Thanks,
from
Will.
a Rouge standpoint, it's a very cutting edge. It's a pioneering project. It's very innovative, and including the community. I think it'll catch on in terms of, I sense concern regarding the involvement, who's on the phone right now, but I think it'll pick up. This is a meaningful project. It's going to benefit the end users a great deal, and also the community. So I'm looking forward to working with you.
Great, appreciate that, Richard. And we had a great discussion. I will mention, with community partners, many of which were on that slide.
Okay.
About, I think, 9 or so individual organizations in our first conversation, and this was our opportunity to connect directly with cities, with the understanding there was going to be some additional follow-up and follow-on discussions. So appreciate the consideration there. Yeah. Lindsay, anything else to add before we conclude?
I would just add, Richard, I thank you for being here. I think too, we'll look forward to being in touch with the cities to moving forward on lots of topics. This is sort of our main focus right now, is sort of getting the word out about the application, but we fully recognize your impact in the community as well, and definitely will be in touch in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for your time, and thank you for joining.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you.
You as well. Bye.
Yep.
Bye-bye.